I sent the number through, so if you want to call, you can call. Number's open. Anybody else, if you have my number, do not call it. This is only for them. Oh Lord, is this thing gonna pick up? Okay, I think it did pick up. Let me see. Is this Lamont?
Yep.
Okay, Lamont, your name was actually in the news article. That's kind of how I knew who it was, because it says you're the uncle of the baby.
Yeah, it's my great nephew.
Okay, how are you doing, man?
I was doing better until I saw this. I can't believe you're on here like just trying to drag her when she's going through this. You know, I understand everybody has questions, but it ain't right for you to go through and drag her like this. You know, the whole family's going through a lot right now. This ain't never happened in our family. So for you to put something off this and then sit here and it's not a game, man. This ain't a game.
Well, look, I actually agree with you. You're like when I agree with something, I will tell you straight up and down because I'm just a straight up and down person. But I just think
that's not what I've been hearing. No, that's not. You know, you calling her bitches and all this stuff, man. Like she, regardless of what you think, like she wasn't raised the way you think she was. She was raised by my mom in the church, and my stepdad, who's a minister, and she wasn't raised the way you think, the way you're describing her as, you know.
Well, I'm not really talking about her upbringing, and what I want to do is I want to try to encourage a little back and forth between us. So I'll give you a moment to speak. If you'll give me a moment to speak, and then that way we can kind of go back and forth a little bit, so we can have a little dialogue. Is that okay?
Dude, I'm not here to entertain people. I don't. My niece.
Did I hold on just a
you
second.
sent your leak to my wife.
Hold on just a second.
And then my niece sent it to me. And she's
brother,
upset, obviously.
Brother, hold on just a second. I literally just said so we can have a dialogue. So did you call in to only say what you want to say and then that's it? So you want to talk at me?
To you. I want to speak to you. That's what I want to speak to.
Okay, so if you want to speak
I don't care about people listening to me and nothing like that. I want to speak to you and let you know this is foul, man.
Okay, but listen to me. Hold on.
You know,
this is what you can't do, bro. Don't call into my phone number and then just talk over me and say
take my nephew's stuff off your page, or we're gonna have some problems.
What are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna pursue you legally. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm still waiting on somebody. I've had a lot of people threaten me with court paperwork, and I haven't gotten a piece of paper yet.
We'll see, because this, as you know, like everybody else knows, this is a national story right now, and
that's right. So that actually means that everybody's talking about this shit. Everybody is.
Exactly.
So I'm going to have my opinion about it.
But you have my nephew's picture up there, and
everybody has your nephew's picture out there. Everybody does.
But
they actually have your. Wait. No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can actually shut your mic off completely. So here's the thing. How did I get your first and last name and your wife's name? That's because it was actually in the goddamn news. That's how I know who you were.
And they got
here's the thing. No, I can shut your mic off. That's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna come to my show and cut me off. That's what you're not gonna do. So here's the thing. Are you gonna sue that news station for putting your first and last name out there so I was able to find you? And here's the thing. I don't mind for you knowing that I'm talking about this. That's why I sent y'all the story, so everybody can know what I'm talking about, so everybody has the ability to speak on what I said. I don't run from a goddamn thing that I say. That's the difference.
You tell my wife, hey, call in or else I'm going to go harder. What's that?
Because she started inboxing me back all kind of crazy shit, so she gets what she put out.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. You're not going through this.
You want me to read what she said? You're not. Look, there's the thing. I'll cut you off as many times as I need to. They can't hear you now. I've turned your mic off. I've told you before. You are not going to cut me off on my show. You don't have to be heard. I could do my show with or without you. Period. That's the way that shit goes. I can either do my show with you saying what you need to say, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to disrespect me. You can threaten me all you want to, because I don't give a shit about threats. Threats don't bother me. You gonna do this and that to me. That means nothing. You niggas talk too goddamn much. Y'all motherfuckers talk about what y'all gonna do, but you don't do shit about it. That's why the world don't take motherfuckers like y'all serious. You always talking about what you always talking about what you gonna do, but you ain't gonna do a fucking thing. I laugh at the shit, nigga. I'm from the hood. That shit don't bother me. Y'all niggas talk about what you gonna do. The real thugs and real killers and real gangsters ain't gonna tell you what they gonna do, bruh. They just gonna pull the fuck up. Straight up and down. I don't know where you niggas was raised, but last time I checked, real niggas don't talk about what they gonna do. That's snitching. That's dry snitching. You run your motherfucking mouth talking about what you gonna do. Either do it or don't. I'm 36 years old. I ain't got time to keep fucking listening to niggas' threats all goddamn day. Shit is childish to me. But I got your mic cut off, so now you get to listen to me. I sent her the link, as well as I sent probably about 100 other people the link. And she said, did you have my permission to use pics of my nephew? First and foremost, you don't own your nephew. That's first and foremost. Second of all, the news put your pictures out there, meaning that either they got it from the mom's page or y'all gave it to them. So if you gave it to a third party, then me being a fourth party, I have every fucking legal right to put out whatever they put out about y'all that y'all delivered to them. You got that? That's one to grow on for you right there. If you gonna know the law, then talk to me about some real shit. Talk to me about some shit that you know. It doesn't even have to fall under fair usage. It's fourth party. The mom, then y'all got it, then y'all gave it to the news, then I got it. That's four parties. How you gonna get mad at a black man for talking about a black baby that needs an advocate? You gonna get mad at me, and they hung up just now. Good, I'm glad he hung up. You gonna talk about I'm like I'm the person that's in the wrong? Seriously? How am I in the wrong for talking about something that everybody else has talked about? She's posted it on Facebook, and you guys are posting up what? A motherfucking GoFundMe. Let's show this GoFundMe. And if he wants to call back in, he can call back in. He can call back in, but I told your motherfucking ass, what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna talk over me on my motherfucking show. If I was on your show, I'd show a little more respect. But since you're on mine, show me respect. Let's show this GoFundMe. I'm gonna show you how niggas do. Right? I'm gonna show you how niggas do. Niggas wanna put up a GoFundMe and ask for white people, mainly, to put their money in and bury your kids. It's not black people who are donating the majority of this money. Am I lying? Let's take a look at this a little bit deeper, because this story done got deep. I've gotten a little bit excited because I know exactly what I'm talking about. I want y'all to look at these names. When I say it's these benevolent white people donating, does that look like a black person? It could be. I could be wrong. That could very well be one of those light-skinned black people. Uh-oh. Y'all don't like it when I kick facts, do you? No. Nobody likes it when I kicks facts. Nobody likes it when I kicks facts. Look at this. Anonymous. Because white people don't want you to know who it is that's donating. But we know. We not dumb. We not dumb. Y'all are asking for $3,500. So if that's your nephew, and if you care about your nephew so much, I'm going to still put you on mute. I'm going to still put you on mute until I finish saying what I got to say. I'm going to still put you on mute until I say what I got to say, because I'm talking right goddamn now. So here's the thing. If you're talking about you care about your nephew so much, then maybe you should have been the person that had life insurance on your nephew, especially knowing the fact that Natasha wasn't going to be responsible enough to put her nephew on life insurance. Maybe you should have been the one raising this baby. Maybe that's what you should have been doing. Because clearly she don't know the difference between don't put your kid around a thug that you just met for a couple of weeks and leave your kid with him and then wonder why your kid end up dead. Maybe you should have been a parent to this kid, because it sounds like, to be honest with you, it sounds like you care more about this kid than she did. And that's the sad state of the black community. That's a very sad state of the black community. All right, who am I on the phone with now?
This is Carrie.
This is Carrie. Now,
Yes.
here's the thing. We all have a lot to say. We all are a little worked up, just like I am. I've been a child advocate. I used to be a child counselor. I raised a lot of kids just like they were my own. So when I see these type of stories, they bother me in a very deep way, usually more than they bother other people. And which is why a lot of times I'll say things that really kind of get people to the point that where they're just like, that hurts to hear Jay say that in that way. But the thing is you have to really kind of understand the root of where it's coming from. Because what we cannot have happen is we cannot have people who have no type of responsibility to they could do whatever they want to with these kids, bring them around whoever they want to, but these kids cannot speak for themselves. They cannot defend themselves. And in my opinion, if we at least can encourage the right mindset for people to understand and say, you know what, maybe I like this guy. It's okay for me to be around this guy, but let me not put my child around this guy. I have no problem with anybody who likes thugs, but what I do have a problem with is whenever people take their children who can't do anything about it, and they have to live around these thugs because mom wanted to. And to me, that sounds unfair. And I guess I'm just more heartbroken. I'm not mad at y'all, but I'm heartbroken because it seems like y'all care more than the mom did.
Well, I don't know what to say. I can't make a comment on how you feel about that. Mm-hmm. But my main thing right now is that this was a grown-ass man, and he knew right from wrong.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So all of it's being put on my niece because she's the mom or whatever, but he knew better.
I agree. I agree.
It doesn't matter, that's plain and simple. He knew better. He knew, right from wrong. You know not to hurt children. And so that's it, plain and simple right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But let me ask you this.
And then I just have one other question, because you brought color into this. What does that have to do with the GoFundMe? No matter what, Jayden deserves to have a funeral.
I agree.
So
I agree.
The GoFundMe
that
I set up was for him.
No, I agree. I agree with that, but you're asking me a question though, right?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, answer.
Okay, so you're asking me what does color have to do with the GoFundMe?
Right.
But the thing about it is that I've been talking about this for a while, so when you guys hear it for the first time, you might not understand why would Jay say that, and that's okay, and I don't mind answering that question. The reason I say that is because it's actually a white platform started by white people, and the people who generally donate the majority of the money that anybody gets in there comes from that particular community. And what I tend to find crazy is it does not apply to y'all. This doesn't actually apply to y'all at all. This has something to do with a much, much deeper thing where people will talk about the white man is the devil. White people are evil. White people want black people to stay down, and and white people want to put us back in slavery. But the second that we get an opportunity to get on a white platform, on the white internet, on the white GoFundMe, on the white Indiegogo or whatever it is, the first people that donate to us are those same people that we are disparaging. And I think that's just really weird. And like I said, that doesn't have anything to do with y'all. But what I'm saying is that the majority of the money that comes in from GoFundMe comes from white people. It's funded by white people and ran by white people. And that's why I say it doesn't have necessarily anything to do with y'all. That's not a personal swipe at y'all for opening a GoFundMe. And it's not even y'all job really to have insurance on the baby. So I'll give you an example. For me and my daughter's mom was in the military. So she automatically put her insurance in for my daughter. But I have my own separate life insurance for her. But between both of us, we made sure that my daughter had life insurance because that's the biological mother and biological dad's responsibility. So let's just say if I put myself in y'all's shoes, if I'm in y'all position and somebody says to me, and y'all are in my position, and y'all say to me, well, why didn't you have life insurance on your kid? I'd be like, you know what? I fucked up on that one. Because I'd be thinking like, life is finite, and we know that it is going to end. We just don't know the day or the hour, like it says in the Bible. So if we know that life is going to end, then it is up to everybody. It is everybody's responsibility to make sure that we have life insurance, and that falls on nobody else except the people who created that child. Now, if other people want to help out, then that actually applies to the community. When they say it takes a village to raise a child, that's where the cousins and uncles and other family members come in. They can help and pitch in.
Right,
and
that's what I
why,
did by setting up the GoFundMe, because we're in California.
Mm-hmm.
We're really far away. There's not, we can't get out there. So I set it up, in hopes that we could help, get him a burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Get a funeral.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the purpose, and I did set it up.
Right, and like I say, and that's coming from, y'all are coming from a standpoint, and I hope he's still listening too. If he's not, I understand, because, I don't think we really got off on a great start.
No, he's heated. He's really heated right now.
We didn't get out on a great start, okay? So I have to apologize for that. My temper is very bad. I have a horrible temper. And that's something I try to work on every single day. But for what y'all doing, y'all are trying to come in and make right for what was lacking. And we all, everybody here understands that. Nobody's mad at that. Everybody understands where y'all are coming from with that. And matter of fact, I can tell you this. Am I going to donate to the GoFundMe after this? Yes, I will. I would encourage more people who hear this, because, if they want to donate, they actually know. I'll make sure to put the link in there. I'll put the link in our description, in our chat, so more people can contribute. But I think what was being missed is what my point was, and I think that was probably what threw people off. So the first thing that he actually asked me was, he said, well, why did I send the link? Well, I put that link out there for anybody and everybody to see. If I have the ability to post it on your wall, I'll post it on your wall, like for people to say, like, hey, RIP, to the baby Jayden. Then I'll post that link in there, so that way I don't want people to be like surprised, like, what? I didn't know that this person was talking about my nephew. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I made it a point to make sure.
I didn't get no. Tasha said that.
Say what now?
Yeah. Well, he didn't get it. It came to me. It didn't go to my husband.
Oh, matter of fact, I don't think I got a chance to look up his page, but I was doing my best, because I really only had like a short amount of time to try to post it. So all the places where I posted it, I posted wherever the news links were posted. So I just typed in the name, and I saw like just a slew of different child agencies and things like that, news articles, and wherever I got a chance to post it to that particular story, that's where I posted my link at, where they had already posted. So I was actually getting all of this information with the court documents, with the police records of this dude's record, which he has a huge rap sheet, by the way. But all of this stuff is actually coming from third party. It's not like I went to her page and ripped a bunch of photos from her page and be like, boom, put it out there for the world. This is stuff that was actually on the news already. So it either,
right, and they actually messaged me and asked if it was okay if they used the pictures, which I did go to Tasha, Jayden's mom, and got the permission from her. Mm-hmm. So it was all given permission. They messaged me through the GoFundMe and asked if they could use our pictures, and we gave them the permission. Mm-hmm. So they did ask permission. I got it from the Alabama News. I got it from the Nancy Grace thing, like a bunch of different things. Oh. And my husband's the one that contacted Nancy Grace. She did a post on her page as well. Mm-hmm. So they did contact us and ask us for permission. They didn't just take it. Everybody had asked permission for the pictures. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now with regard to the legal portion, like, I get it, and that's why I say, and maybe that's why sometimes people change their mind about if they talk about, I think more than anything, sometimes we could just speak from an emotional standpoint, and we say, I don't know this dude, I don't like this dude, and I'm gonna sue his ass and I'm gonna get this taken down. I understand that. I don't get mad about that. But the reality of it is that I got it from a fourth, like I'm technically a fourth party. So it was already being put out to the public. So at that point, now it's public, it's in the public domain. Does that make sense?
I understand that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with somebody reporting a story. I've seen the story reported plenty of times already.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that, you know, this bitch, this nigga, I don't like that. How do you report the news and you use language like that?
Well, this is the thing. I don't consider myself to be doing the news. I consider myself to be giving social commentary. So what I do,
but still, there's a tasteful way of doing it.
Well, I agree with you, but there's also this thing, like don't take this the wrong way, but with free speech, like we generally are gonna just speak how we really feel about something. So imagine, like if I'm sitting like in a barbershop getting my hair cut, and I'm sitting down with my boys and we talking about this, and I see this, I'm gonna talk to my audience the same way that I would as if we were in the barbershop all chopping it up about this together. And I just put this on my platform so that way people can hear a real live conversation. People can hear our real feelings. To know that
right,
this type,
but you have to keep in mind that the family has real life feelings as well. No matter what you guys feel about it, Jayden is a person, and he lost his life, and we are all trying to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
No matter how everybody feels, how it went down, everything else, you have to respect that he is a person, and now we lost him. And so by you coming on here and doing these kinds of things, that just adds fuel to the fire. And it's not, you know what I mean? Like, you need to be a little more aware of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, everybody has a right to be pissed off because it pisses everybody off. Like,
can I ask you a question?
Situation is not okay. He was a
grown-ass
man. He knew right from wrong, and that's plain and simple right there. This is our life, and this is our family, and this was our baby. You know what I mean? And he's gone.
Hold on.
And you guys should be a little more respectful of that.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Or more or less, let me ask you a question about something you said. You said we have the right to be upset, right?
Right.
Why do you feel like we have the right to be upset?
Because it's...
Who has the right to be upset?
We do.
No, she was saying we have the right to be upset.
People are going to be upset because of what happened. It's a grown-ass man murdered a baby. Of course, everybody in the world is going to be mad about it. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you be?
So with that being said, that exact thing that you said right there, if people have the right to be upset about it, about this dude, because my anger is located at the person. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? I can still hear you.
Your phone cut out. I couldn't hear half of what you said.
It's this, and we're talking kind of voice over IP. It might mess up a little bit. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a technical thing. It's technology. But with regard to that, if we have the like I agree with you. We do have the right to be upset, and people will be upset when they hear this, especially when you have national news media outlets that have put it out there and shown it to the world. They've shown everybody his face, and they say this is the face that did this to this baby. And that should enrage people, right?
Yeah, because he was a grown man.
Thank you, because this dude is a horrible person. But let me say this. This is what makes the age that we live in just a bit different now. It's because now we can get on our Facebook Live, we can get on our Twitter or our Instagram Live, and we can literally just step out there and say, this is how I personally feel about this. But you're going to always have the side of people that look at that and say, I don't like the way what he's saying. That dude is an asshole. He don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have all the facts. But I don't reject those people for saying what they say, and I don't reject you guys at all for coming in and saying, I don't like what you're saying. I think you could do it better. I understand that. But at the same time, that's part of what we're trying to find some gray area and just say that both of us should have the right to feel how we feel. Your husband and you have the absolute right to feel upset if you feel like I am slighting someone that you feel like maybe shouldn't bear this burden of blame. And I understand that.
Right.
I don't think we're that far off the same page. I think we're kind of on the same page, kind of, to a point.
Because you're using this story for your benefit. That's it. That's how I see it.
Right. I understand that, but the thing is that's also an assumption because you would have to ask me to know that, though, right?
No.
So what is our benefit of this? What is our family's benefit of this?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure that there's a benefit of anybody really. Like, what's the benefit of putting it out there to the news? Like, let me ask you that. Like, do you gain something from the news?
If you get more coverage on it, right? Then the penalty for him is going to be that much greater.
Well, yeah.
Because that's why when I first heard about it, within the first day, I contacted Nancy Grace because I know how much of an advocate she is for children and missing and exploited teens. I got it out to her. That's the first person I reached out to, and sure enough, within one day, less than a day, she had a feature story on her page because I've seen what she's done in the past. And sure enough, right after her, everybody started picking it up. And then my wife was contacted by 2 different news medias to get permission, which we don't have permission to give, the right to give them permission. We went straight to my niece. My wife called my niece directly and got the permission because we want to see something done to him. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I understand that. And to be honest, like that kind of stuff really, like, it does make a difference, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, really, once they get inside that courtroom, like they're not, like, a lot of times in a lot of these courtrooms, because I've played a lot of cases on my on my platform. There's usually nobody in there in those courtrooms, and then all of a sudden they'll walk out and they'll be like, "Hey, here's what the ruling was." So they don't have a lot of outside influences when it comes to how they sentence them. They just say, "Present the facts. This is what you did. This is going to be your penalty for doing what you did to that kid. You're an asshole, and you're going to go to jail for life, or we're going to execute you." And that'd be the end of that dude's story with regard to how the court handles it. But when it comes to us spreading the story, I actually kind of like the way that we talked about it earlier. We're talking about spreading awareness. Now, everybody is going to spread their awareness in a different kind of way. Would we agree with that? Like, we would think that Nancy Grace would probably say things a little bit different than me, right?
Yeah.
Just from her being a woman and me not really knowing where she's come from, her struggle, the things that she's seen is probably going to be a little bit different than somebody who grew up in the hood. I don't think she grew up in the hood, so she probably has a different thought process than I do, and to see things differently than I do. Like, she's not going to look at.
I don't understand what growing up in the hood has to do with seeing things a certain way.
One word: perspective. Perspective. The way that I'm talking on this show.
You know what I mean?
The way that I'm talking on this show is my perspective. The way that I see things. I see that there is more blame than just solely on him. Which is why I use the analogy is if you put your child in harm's way, we also have to say, don't put your children in harm's way.
Okay, but then you also went on to say that she should have done a background check and this and that. Like, honestly, how many people do a background check on people that they date?
I actually answered that earlier.
It's not a lot of people. I guarantee there's very, very little people that do that.
I actually love that you say that. You want me to tell you why you say that? Because going forward, if we can use this precious soul Jayden's name to say, this is why you should do a background check on these weak ass niggas, these thugs. That's exactly why we should do a background check. We wouldn't have known if he was a pedophile. We wouldn't have known if he was a murderer. We wouldn't have known if he was wanted for a mass murder or anything like that unless we do our due diligence. But now, just because of hearing this story, you might have one or two people or maybe somebody else that looks at this and says, you know what? Maybe I ought to do a background check. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I'm just...
Because we can't fix what we've done in hindsight. I'm not saying that she needs to go back and do it now, but what I'm saying is maybe this story when
right,
we talk
and
about
that's what I can guarantee. Like she said, she wishes she never met him, because guess what? This is something that now she's having to deal with for the rest of her life. And so why can't people just let her be, because she's aware of that? You know what I mean?
Well,
I saw comments on here. I saw comments on your thing talking about, you know, bashing her so bad and this and that and this and that, and it's like, come on, she's already going through it.
Well, let me.
Don't you think she does that to herself every day?
Let me ask you. Well, I don't know, but that's kind of why we're just talking about it. But let me ask you this: what comments did you see, if you can remember any, or you could look at them now? What comments do you see that you disagree with?
A lot. I can't go back and look at them at the moment, but
what was there anything that you remember that somebody typed and you're just like, you know what, that person's comment, I don't agree with it, and here's why.
I get to see a lot. I saw somebody get on and say, "Yeah, drag the whole family." Can I tell you this, Lamont?
The whole family.
Can I tell you this, Lamont? That comment I don't agree with. If somebody posted that, I don't agree with that. Drag the whole family? Not at all. For what?
Yeah, they did, in all caps. Go ahead, tell him. Wait, let him tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I talked to my brother, and my brother is like, that was his only grandson, and he's tore up obviously about it.
Mm-hmm.
My nephew, my youngest nephew, yeah, just he can't hold it together. They're trying. That was his nephew. He spent time with him all the time. They were just with him the night before was his birthday. Friday night was his birthday. Everybody was with him celebrating his birthday that night.
Let's go with the week before.
No, it was that Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was recent. I read it in here. I saw that. I read it in here, but I know what you're talking about, though.
Everybody was just with him. That's my mom, my stepdad, my all the my three nieces, or my two nieces, and my two nephews were just with him that night. And so, as far as people, making assumptions that, oh, the family this, the family that, like I said, my stepdad is a minister, and they were raised in the church, all of them. I have five nieces and nephews. They're raised in the church, raised by my brothers. My brother's a single dad, raised by him and my mom and my stepdad. And they were very strict on every single one of those children. So, like, this has never happened in our family ever. Nothing like this has ever happened. And everybody's shook up about it. It ain't going to never be the same. And this is what I'm saying. Like, she's going through a lot. Everybody has the what ifs. My nephew thinks, man, he was out of town when it happened. He was, man, I wish I was in town.
And I'm
just taking somehow, whatever. Everybody shook up. So there's a lot of what ifs, but there's nothing you could do. This is my point: is that there's nothing you could do about it now. But we gotta. The whole purpose was to go for the GoFundMe page was to make sure he gets a proper burial.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I don't know if everybody, if any of us will ever heal, especially them. But we got it. We're just trying to get it done. That's it. And because everybody has their opinion on it. Everybody has their opinion on it. A lot of what ifs. That's all it is. What if? What if? I mean, she didn't do a background check. No, she didn't. That's it. Plain and simple. She didn't. You go by the way he looks. Well, is that his mugshot picture? You got to remember, in different areas of the country, everybody looks different.
They're in Alabama.
They're in Alabama. How many people in Alabama or down south have wear gold teeth? A lot of them. You know, I'm not saying I'm not being the advocate for him, because believe me, if I had a chance to get at him, you know,
His looks can be deceiving, basically.
I look at it like this.
For people to sit back and criticize what she should have, and how could you do this, how could you do that? Yeah, what ifs? You know, it's all about, like.
But that's not going to.
It's not.
Bring
Yeah,
you back.
It's
not going to change anything.
And the same
so we
thing
need
that
to
you
go forward.
The same things you say you're trying to. What you want to do is start educating women on, hey, start doing background checks, and men, women and men. That's the same thing that she. If you watch her interview, that's what she said.
Well, actually, I haven't actually played.
That's exactly what she said.
Now, I've seen her interview, but I haven't played it for everybody else yet, and I think it's kind of telling in there too, because you know I have some comments about that, but I'll wait on that. But while you guys were talking, I took just a couple of notes, so because my memory is not that great, so a lot of times I have to write things down. When it comes to blaming the family, nobody here is blaming the family. What I generally do here is we'll ask hashtag where's the biological father, hashtag where are the family members, because all we want to know is what other support services were available for this person. Because what that does is if we know that we have Lamont, and if we know that we have Carrie, and we know that we have the grandfather, and we know that we have all of these sources of people that were able and available to be able to help you with this kid, then there was no reason for a person to put their child around a stranger, somebody you literally just met. And they talking about 2 months. I doubt if it was even 2 months. There's no way I would, like I could not leave my kid around somebody I've met for 2 months. That's just not going to happen. Okay. Now, with regard to what we do here, I have a thing where I say we're here to advocate for the children, meaning these children can't speak for themselves. They cannot defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. So they need a voice to speak up and say, hey, I'm speaking from his shoes now. If I was this baby in the shoes, I would say, no, I don't know this dude. I don't want to be around this dude. This is what you could have did better by me. So a lot of times we speak on behalf of the children's standpoint, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in the South, there are a lot of kids that grew up under the mantra, children should be seen and not heard. Children don't have a say-so until they get out of my house, until they are grown. And that's not the philosophy that I teach. The philosophy that I teach is that once that human being baby is born, they have every right to live and breathe and think and thrive and survive. And what they think and what they want to do matters. That's where I'm coming from. And last but not least, the last point that I want to bring up is you can't blame yourself, and nor should the grandfather blame themselves just because they were in the church and they taught good morals and values. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach him, you can't force him to drink. At the end of the day, if I've raised you to the best of my knowledge, and this goes to my own daughter, I've given my daughter everything that I could possibly give her to turn her into a great person. If she wants to turn her back on all of my teachings and do things wrong, then it's no longer my responsibility. Now, as a parent, am I going to still feel like it's my fault? Yes. But you cannot take onus for somebody making their own decisions, especially with her being grown. She's not 16, 17, 18 years old. She's 23. I had my daughter at 24 years old, and by that time, my daughter, when I was 24, had insurance. That means me and her weren't even 12 months difference in age. My daughter's going to be 13 this year. Maturity is just a mindset. It's not an age. And that's why I'm hoping that more people as parents, when they choose to bring children into this world, would just literally think this deeply about it. Like, it sounds like it's so much. Like when we talk about, well, who's going to think to add life insurance on their kid? I'm like, we should be thinking that deeply. We should be thinking about our kids having stocks and bonds. We should be thinking about our kids having college funds. We should be thinking about what kind of businesses do I want my kids to start? What kind of contracts are they going to need to sign? What kind of people should I have them around? What environment should I raise them in? It's a very difficult thing to try to live for two grown people to try to live out of a hotel and raise a kid. It's just
But here's the thing, though.
That's a dangerous thing to do.
She wasn't living out of that hotel. She was with my mom, her grandmother, earlier that week. She was with her earlier that week. She was living in her house earlier that week. So whatever happened between there and there, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there. I live in California. I haven't seen my niece in a while, but I keep in contact with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
My whole issue is I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. I totally agree with you.
That's at least a start. And
about setting our kids up, so they have the opportunity to be successful.
Yeah.
But what my whole thing is, like, there's you say it's from your perspective.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But imagine, like, regardless of what questions, like, anybody has, that's including all of us, the family and everything. Like, there's a way that I don't know. I'm different. I believe that, you know, if I'm watching your show or your news show, then I'm used to seeing certain things a certain way, and there's ways to address people or to make statements about people without being disrespectful. That's what I saw. I saw disrespect towards her as a person.
Make comments towards her hair.
Yeah, and it's like,
You're a bitch.
it's like, like I said before, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't know about, and I don't even know about. But you're the one that would jump into conclusions about some of the things you're saying.
What is something that I said that you know is inaccurate based on what I've said so far?
Well, you're saying that she didn't know him 2 months. I doubt if it was 2 months. But how do you know?
How long do you believe it was?
Like I said, I couldn't tell you because I don't live in Alabama. I live here. I live in California.
Okay,
I talk to my nieces and nephews. You know.
Okay,
That's about it. But
let me read this part about it, because just to let you kind of know how I compile my information. I don't mind telling you. What I do is I type each person's name in, and every single news article, link, website that has something about that, I take them all. Sometimes I'll have 30 or 40 links open, and I'll read through each and every one of them, and I'll try to take and piece in every piece of information to make sure that we have the most comprehensive story possible. So one website might have a little bit of information over here, then another website might have a little bit of information over here, and it just kind of keeps going on. So that's why it takes me so long to try to put these things together to try to give a comprehensive story. So based on what I found, everybody said, and every news link said, and maybe you guys might tell them that, hey, y'all might have this wrong if you know something different, but they said she left 1-year-old Jayden in the care of a man that she had been dating for about 2 months. And when they say that word "about," that generally means less. And even 2 months, even if it were 3-4 months, even if it were 6 months, like, let me ask you this: do you guys even know anything about the biological father? Like, I'm wondering, like, he hasn't spoke up at all, hadn't said anything.
No, I don't know anything about him.
Oh man, wow, damn.
But I don't live in Alabama either. I talked to my brother about him. My brother knows him, so.
Has he made any comment about the biological father?
I don't. My brother he's never said anything derogatory about him. He's never said anything bad about him. Like I said, when I talked to my brother this weekend, he mentioned him, but he didn't say anything like foul about him. He didn't say the guy was foul. Like I said, I haven't seen my niece in probably like 6 years. But I communicate with them, pretty regularly because they're with my mom.
Yeah, and the reason I generally will ask that is because that's kind of like just a big, huge question. It's like a big blanket, because a lot of times our children in the Black community are born outside of wedlock at an 80% rate, and the chances of the mom and the biological father being together, still in a relationship, or even being married after that kid is born, is almost little to none. I'm even a prime example of that. When me and my daughter's mom had our kid, we weren't together in a relationship. We had broke up 4 months into her being pregnant, but I was always there every moment, every hospital visit, delivered my daughter, cut the umbilical cord, was in the warming room. All 3 days that she was in that hospital, I was there with her. But we know that with a lot of these irresponsible men, these young men, they're not doing that. I'm hearing this from ladies, and all I'm saying is it's got to either be one or the other. Either these men are in these kids' lives or they're not. And I'm assuming that they're not based on what the women, the mothers, are saying. So a lot of times that makes me think, well, clearly this man ain't in this kid's life, and we'd have to wonder why. It's either A, she don't want him there and preventing him from being there, or B, he just an ain't shit nigga and he don't want to be there. It's usually one of the two.
I couldn't speak on either one of those because I don't, like I said, I don't know him. I've never, I've never been to Alabama, so I don't know him. And when I speak to my nephews and nieces, it's it's about the children and it's about them.
Right.
And that's, my my brother and his sons, they're the ones who, they interact with my other niece. She has children too, but she's with her the father of her children, but
right.
I don't know. I can't really speak on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of points that we agree on. I agree with you on that. I have 4 children of my own. Mm-hmm. My oldest one, he's 25. He's my stepson. I've been in his life since he was like 9 months old, but I've been pretty much co-raising him since he was 3.
Yeah.
But his dad was in his life from up to the time he was 18.
Okay.
I have 3 younger children, and I've been married for 21 years, almost going on 22 years, and I've been there for my children since day one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, salute, man.
And
salute.
my brother's the same way. He has 5 children, including Tasha. He's there for every since day one for every single one of them, and he's raised them since the year of 2000 by himself with the help of my mom and my stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
As far as like that part, my mom, she's been married. She met my stepdad in 1992, and they've been married ever since, and they're still together. So as far as like that, that avenue, I mean, they have all those examples to lead by, but like you say, you can only do so much.
Right. And that's part of where I was saying I don't want any family, and that's part of what I'm saying when a person in my chat says like drag the whole family, and that's part of why I say it's okay for people to post what they think, but it's also okay for us to correct us when something is wrong. And whoever said that, I'm not okay with that at all. I don't believe in just dragging a family just for the hell of it. I'd have to see somebody do something that is wrong in order for me to say, hey, this thing is wrong. But just for being just guilty by association, no, not at all. Not at all. But let me say this, because there was actually something that was posted that actually said, according to the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, and a lot of times I'll actually tell people where I get my news information from, and they actually said that this man, I don't even want to call him a man, this nigga here, like, I'm sorry, I'm just very blunt with the way I speak, Christopher Eugene Knight, they said that he has a history of living in hotels, and the address where he and Natasha were staying together at the time of Jayden's injuries belonged to an in-town suites extended stay facility, because they have to provide identification. Oh, no, don't. Hold on just a second. Do me a favor. Guys, do not time out anybody, please. Please, don't time out anybody. Let people chat. We've been doing pretty good. Don't time out anybody. Please, please, please. Okay? But according to what they're saying, according to Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, they're saying that they lived in a hotel. That's where they were both living at, because that's what they're going to say in court. And it's going to be up to somebody to prove that that wasn't the case. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Well,
because I do try to let people know when something's just my opinion and when something's actually a fact. And the thing is if there's a fact that we're just like, hey man, like that might be a bit damaging, then that might be something we either want to get to an attorney or get to whoever it is to make sure that, you know, this is not something that's going to be used against the mom or whatever the case is, because they're going to take this information and literally throw the book at this fool. I tend to judge a book by its cover, and I think that's actually a safer thing to do, especially when you know that black men have a propensity to do things. And I'm a black man, so I'm saying this even with it including myself, okay? And oh, damn it, hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Rochelle is a channel member. Why would we block a channel member? Guys, don't do that. Please. Those people are channel members. I'm going to give her moderator rent so she can come back in. But do me a favor, please do not block channel members. Come on, y'all. But anyway, what I was saying was, with me being a black man, I have to accept that there are certain stereotypes that are going to make me look bad. But in order for me to combat those stereotypes, what I know I have to do as a black man is just not live them out. If they say that all niggas steal, then I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to be the one to steal. I'm not going to steal anything. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure I show you like, hey, I'm paying. I got my receipt right here. Got my receipt. I paid for mine. So I don't live by the stereotypes. If they say, well, black men don't take care of their kids. No, can't say that about me. Been in my daughter's life for 13 years. Been there since day one. She spent the first half of her life living with me. Me and her mom had joint custody, so I know that's not me. So I try to make sure I live by, and matter of fact, even stereotypes aren't necessarily a bad thing. People look at it in a wrong way. Because if you look at a stereotype, if it's something you feel negative about, you could just say, you know what? That might just be encouragement for us to just not live that way. If they say that all black people do is just throw their money away, well, we could prove them wrong about that. And even if we prove them wrong about it, it's only going to make us better. So with me saying that this dude looks like a thug, then all he has to not do in order to live up to that stereotype is not do thug shit. Don't have multiple warrants. This dude was already on probation in 2017, and he was arrested on charges of breaking and entering. He entered a guilty plea, and then he was on probation, and then he was scheduled to show up to court May of 2019, and he didn't bother to show up and got another warrant. And then he was arrested again another time after that for theft of property in connection with an incident that occurred in November of 2019. And that information wasn't even hard to find. Matter of fact, can I say one more thing real quick? One more thing. There was a woman that they're actually, so if y'all end up going to court or seeing this in court, they're going to put this out there. They said one woman that met this killer said about him, I chilled with his ass, and they quote, I chilled with his ass one night and I didn't like his vibe and I dipped. They're going to use that against him to say somebody else knew that it was something severely wrong with this dude.
Right.
Like I said, we can't fix anything looking back and saying what Natasha should have did, and that's going to fix anything. But what we can do is say, if there's another Natasha out there, maybe it might be a Nicole, maybe it might be a Vicky, maybe it might be a somebody else who's similar to her age and her situation, and find some dude that she might be attracted to and be like, wait a minute, I just saw the story of Jayden McGee. I'm not going to let that happen to my baby. I saw what just happened to him. Like, when we talk about cautionary tales, those things are usually meant whenever we spread awareness to remind us this is why you don't put yourself in this situation. Don't let this dude come by your house. Don't let this dude babysit your kid. No. I don't know. Like, what do you truly know about somebody? Like, if you don't know if they are on the run and you could be aiding and abetting a criminal, you wouldn't know. He could be on America's Most. You could be sitting up, kicking your feet up, watching TV and be like, oh shit, this nigga's on America's Most Wanted. Like, what the, like, you?
Yeah, I hear you.
And I'm just hoping that more people will. It causes us to think in a way that's not normal. And normally, I agree with the fact that you shouldn't have to go get background checks.
Not that you shouldn't. It's just people don't think to do that.
And part of what I'm trying to do my best at in my own special way, because I know it's a bit jagged, it's a bit harsh, is that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do, is just to think about it a little bit more deeper.
Yeah.
If I could make 100,
For me, for me, it was just, I take it as disrespectful the way you're, you know, this bitch, like it's like, I understand exactly what you're saying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I understand all the points that you're making, but what I'm saying is that there's a way to go about it, and I guess you're giving your perspective, and that's how you see it, or whatever. But for me, this is real life, you know. Like, yeah, I see my nieces and my nephews and my brother and my parents, you know, shook up about this. This has never, like I said, never happened, you know.
Right,
so,
right.
And no, of course, nobody's expecting this to happen. Nobody.
Right.
You know, my brother told me, he's like, that Friday when he had his birthday party, he's like, I never thought that this would be my last time seeing my grandson alive. Like, my brother's like big time shook up about this. I mean, as anybody would be, but like for him, for him, it's deeper than a lot of people can even imagine. You know.
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from as far as like trying to spread the word and try to make sure more women are cautious about their actions and who they bring around their children.
Which we agree with 100%.
Yeah, we agree with that 100%.
Right. It's just the method. I understand. I get it. And just to kind of tell you a point that you might not know, the majority, because I actually can look at my statistics, like it's almost gotten to 90% of my audience is women. I didn't even know it was that high. I thought it was about 50-50. It's like 90% of the people in my chat are women and are mothers. And they vary in ages and they vary in experiences and just, you know, and then they tend to bring in more people. And a lot of people do come in and at first they don't understand. But I think that's also why we get a good backing of people that have a good mindset for being here and try to spread the word, because some people can take those jagged things and be like, you know what, it sound bad, but I get where he's trying to go with it. And sometimes you can hear that and it makes you're just like, you know what, throw the whole message out. You know what I'm saying? And I expect for that to be there. And, you know, over time I can learn to try to, you know, make my message more effective. But it seems like, you know, when I get people that email me, I actually met a person when I was on tour with TJ. When I was on tour with him in Houston, I had somebody walk up to me, and I thought they were walking up to the wrong person. And they told me, they was like, you know what? You know, I'm married, man, and you changed my life. And I'm like, you mean TJ, right? Like, not me. Like, he's the celebrity, not me. Like, you're talking about, y'all are here to see him. You're not talking about me. They was like, no, I watch your show. And he got to just telling me a story, and I was just like, whoa, like that really touched home with me. And I'm like, maybe I am making a difference. And when people email me, when people post their comments, and people will leave their stories in there, and they'll talk about what it actually means to them and what it means to listen to a platform that's probably a bit different than any other platform that they listen to, then I realized that, okay, I think we are making an impact in a way that I think people do get it, even though initially it might come off in a negative way. Because my priority is always, that's actually what my AFC stands for, Advocates for Children. We advocate for children first as our mantra.
All right.
I just think that if maybe if you did it,
The deliverance was.
yeah,
It was a deliverance.
because you got to think that there's more than just, there's more family, that you kind of got to keep in mind that there's a lot of family involved, and so when you come out a certain way, calling certain names and things like that, you could have got your point across, even without calling her names, and no matter how you feel about her, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a different way to do it.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that. I understand what you're saying. I mean, to be honest with you, really, for y'all to even spend this time and just speak your thoughts. I mean, it's not the first time we've done this, and we've had lots of different kinds of conversations. Some have been good, some have been bad, but the majority of them I felt like have always been productive, and I still feel like this has been at least a productive conversation to at least give me your perspective and me try to give mine, and hope that we can at least, if we don't have to agree, but we can at least kind of understand where each other is coming from, and really just hope that we can really just try to make a difference. And I think sometimes we forget how powerful just speaking about something is, just speaking love and just speaking awareness makes a difference. Just talking about it sometimes. I've caught myself in plenty of situations where I talk to friends and I'm just like we talk about BS all the time. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear about, what was on World Star. I don't want to hear about, you know what I'm saying, what they did on Desperate Hollywood Husbands of Housewives or whatever it is. I don't know what that stuff is. But I just feel like there's so much more that matters out there, and just for us to even have enough people to care to listen, I think is just a dope thing to hear about this baby's story, because to me, he mattered. Jayden mattered to me. And you want to know what's even crazier about his name? That's my nephew's name.
Yeah.
My shout out to my sister. She actually, to be honest with you, she actually named him after me and my brother. Because I'm Jay, and then my brother is Dan. So Jayden. That's where the name comes from.
Yeah. I hear you. I just, like I said, I know.
Yeah, I despise dudes like this.
From a personal standpoint, like, it's from a distance, but I see my nieces and my nephews and my brother. I see my family, like, going through it right now. And I just, I've seen, you're not the first person that I've seen here online, that have the same questions about, why didn't she do this, or why? And I understand, there are questions that any of us have, but I don't know. For me, it's like I understand. I just my whole thing with the with my nephew. I just want him to be able to the whole GoFundMe thing was just so they can have a proper burial for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody's was prepared for that. Nobody.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like you were saying earlier, about life insurance. But like, how many? I mean, if you really was to take a poll, how many people even have life insurance for themselves right now? Let alone children. And I know that it should be you should be prepared for try to be prepared for the inevitable. I mean, not inevitable, but the unexpected. But a lot of it's
it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, yes, sir. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
But what when your AFC, I didn't know that stood for advocate for children. I didn't know that.
Yes,
That
yes, sir. Yeah, I took a lot of time thinking about that because I wanted something to be concise, but I also wanted it to have a message because I also have a what do you call it? A company called Just Dimes. And at the beginning of the streams, I always say, shout out to Just Dimes, and it's spelled Dimez. And a lot of times people think, well, oh, he's just talking about like pretty girls, like dimes. And people could look at it like that. But if they ask me what it actually means desire, independent, motivated, elegant zeal. And my group stands for people aspiring to be something great. So everything that I come up with as far as a name actually has a deeper meaning. And with the AFC, it's something easy. It kind of rolls off the tongue real nice. And when you see the shirt, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it actually has a picture of a little girl's face and a little boy's face on there. And it's just to let people know when people look at that and they say, what is the AFC? We say we're the advocates for children. I don't look at it as a me thing. I look at it as a we thing. Because I don't think there's enough people out there in the world like you guys that care about kids this deeply. Like I've seen where just people, they're just out of sight and out of mind. I'm like, at least y'all cared enough to try to help, try to do something. And more people need to speak up and be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I do appreciate you getting my nephew's story out there, and I just want to see him taken care of. Obviously, if I had the means to do it, I would have definitely stepped up and did it myself. But I don't know if you know about California, but it's expensive out here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, whole thing with like being prepared. Nobody's prepared for this.
Yeah.
But
well, I appreciate you guys just, if nothing else, just being open-minded to at least hear me out. Because like I say, I don't even expect for you guys to agree with everything I said, but at least you took a moment to hear me out. And for that, I say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually putting the link to that GoFundMe in our description box. So any eyeballs that happen to come to this video will be able to see that. That'll be the first action item in our chat. So hopefully, if people find it in their heart, they can go in and find the information a lot easier to be able to try to make this process expeditious so you guys can kind of get to the next step. Because I know this is kind of an ongoing thing. This is not the end. It's really kind of the beginning of, the grieving period. So, if nothing else, we can at least put the information out there so people can know where to find it.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right, guys. And thank you for the people that are listening. I know we were on here for a little bit of time. I did go ahead and update the description information with the GoFundMe link if you guys want to find that. I thought there was a shorter. Let me see if I can find a shorter way to put it in here because I thought there was like a short code, a share. Yep, it is. Okay. Let me put this one there. And again, it's called Jayden's Funeral Expenses, and it'll have his face there. And the people that we just spoke to, they're going to be the ones that are the campaign organizers. So it should, oh, damn, it's the same link. Okay. So it's in there now. And I thank you guys for being patient and listening. If